Servicing of Multi-Split AC Part 2. Hello, my name is Charumati. I hope you're all excited for today's session. In this module, we are going to learn to conduct a leak test in multi-split AC. At the end of this exercise, you will be able to connect the system with gauge manifold and nitrogen cylinder, charge nitrogen gas into the system, test leak with soap solution, connect the system with vacuum pump, dehydrate the system, dehydrate and evacuate the system, refrigerant charging. Now let us take a look at the equipment, materials and tools required to do this exercise.
Tools, instruments or consumable items required. Nitrogen cylinder with 2-stage pressure regulator 1 set. Gas brushing torch with hoses and oxygen, LPG cylinder 1 set. Gauge manifold with LP or HP gauges 1 number. Double-ended spanner numbers 6x7 to 20x22 1 set. Adjustable spanner 6, 15 cm, 1 number. Flaring block with yoke 1 set. Painting brush 125 mm 1 number. Charging hose 2 numbers. Cutting plier 1 number. Cylinder key 1 number. Industrial digital thermometer 1 number. Eye goggles 1 pair. Hand gloves 1 pair. Vacuum pump to stage 1 number. Heating kit infrared type or hot air gun 1 number. Gauge manifold with high pressure and compound gauge 1 number. Charging hose 6 mm 3 numbers. Materials or components required. Copper tube soft annealed. 24 standard wire gauge 1x4 OD 6 mm 15 cm. Flare nut brass 1x4 6 mm 1 number. Flare union brass 1x4 6 mm 1 number. Flare dummy nut brass 1x4 6 mm 2 numbers. Brushing rod silver or copper 1 number. Plastic or metal mug 1 liter water volume 1 number. Multi-split AC 1 number. Refrigerant cylinder. Task 1. Connect the system with a gauge manifold and nitrogen cylinder. Ensure that all pipe joints and flare points are securely fastened or braced together. Next, open both service valves to allow the flow of gases. Then, attach one end of the charging hose labeled I to the gauge port of the liquid service valve. Connect the other end of charging hose I to the high pressure HP port of the gauge manifold. Following that, connect one end of another charging hose labeled 2 to the intermediate port of the gauge manifold. The opposite end of this hose is attached to the valve of the nitrogen cylinder via a 2-stage pressure regulator, ensuring a controlled flow of gas. To secure the connections further, we tighten the joints of the charging hoses using cutting pliers, ensuring they are snug and leak-free. Lastly, connect charging hose 3 between the suction service valve and the LP side of the gauge manifold. Task 2. Charge nitrogen gas into the system. Make sure that the high pressure and low pressure HP and LP ports of the gauge manifold are closed by checking the knobs. Open the nitrogen cylinder valve using the valve key. Regulate the pressure to 50 sig in the pressure regulator and increase after step by step up to the test pressure level. Open both knobs of the gauge manifold. Observe the nitrogen gas flowing into the system through identifying nitrogen escaping from the gauge port of the suction service valve. Observe the nitrogen pressure starts to build up by watching the reading in the high pressure gauge of the manifold. Allow the nitrogen flow for 20-30 seconds until the pressure reaches to the limit, 300 sig. Close the knobs of the gauge manifold. Ensure that the system has got nitrogen pressure by the reading on the pressure gauge. Close the nitrogen cylinder and loose the regulator knob. Take the dry bulb thermometer and find the temperature of ambient air and note down the time. Tabulate the readings in the tabular column. Close the gauge manifold charging ports by flare dummy nut. Remove the charging hose I and II from gauge manifolds and nitrogen cylinder. Observe the reading for 2 hours. Task 3. Test leak with soap solution. Firstly, prepare a soap solution by mixing soap concentrate with pure water in a container. Ensure the solution is well mixed. Next, use a sponge to create lather in the solution. Apply the soapy solution onto the joints, including screwed or threaded connections, and braced joints using a brush. Ensure thorough coverage. If necessary, apply foam onto the joints using the sponge to enhance visibility. Carefully observe the solution-covered joints for any signs of escaping nitrogen bubbles, indicating a leak. If bubbles are detected at any joint, use a spanner or cutting plier to tighten screwed or threaded joints and mark the repaired joint with a permanent marker. For braced joints, confirm the leak and note it down for repair. Once all leaks are addressed, confirm that there are no remaining leaks at any joints. Maintain the pressure in the system for the next 24 hours. After 24 hours, release the nitrogen gas and locate the leaking point. Repair the leaking point by brushing it. After the repair, carry out leak testing again after 24 hours and remove the scummy cap port of gauge manifold. Release the nitrogen gas by opening the hand valves of the gauge manifold. Then proceed with vacuumizing the system. Task 4. Connect the system with vacuum pump. Firstly, take one end of the charging hose, I, and attach it to the high pressure side, specifically the condenser outlet. Then, connect the other end of this hose to the HP, high pressure, port of the gauge manifold. Next, take one end of the charging hose, II, and connect it to the low side, specifically the compressor process tube. Then, attach the other end of this hose to the LP, low pressure, port of the gauge manifold. Now, take one end of the charging hose, III, and connect it to the intermediate port of the gauge manifold. Attach the other end of this hose to the inlet of the vacuum pump. Ensure all connections are tight by using cutting pliers for charging hoses and a suitable size double-ended spanner for flare nuts, flare unions and flare dummy nuts. Make sure to close the HP-LP knobs of the gauge manifold before proceeding. Task 5. Handle and operate vacuum pump. Next, switch on the vacuum pump. Gradually open the valve knobs on the gauge manifold, starting with the HP and then the LP, one by one. Observe the readings on the compound gauge of the manifold to ensure that the pressure is decreasing. Leave the system undisturbed for 3 to 4 hours to allow the vacuum pump to operate without any interruption or disturbance. Task 6. Dehydrate the system. Note, this task is to be carried out after 2 hours from the time of switching on vacuum pump. To begin the process, first, activate the heating kit, whether it's an infrared lamp or a hot air gun. Ensure that the system is under vacuum and that the vacuum pump is operational. Apply heat evenly to all parts of the system using the heating kit, including the refrigerant tubes, condenser coil, evaporator coil, liquid line dryer filter, and capillary tube. Maintain a distance of 15 cm between the heating kit and the system's surface throughout the process. Continue heating for a duration of 30 minutes. Once the heating process is complete, leave the system under vacuum. Task 7. Evacuate the system completely. Moving on to the next task, evacuate the system entirely. Monitor the pressure reading on the compound gauge of the manifold, aiming for a reading of 100 microns or lower, which is equivalent to 30 inches of mercury. Gradually close the LP-HP knobs of the gauge manifold one by one. Turn off the vacuum pump and disconnect its power plug. Allow the system to maintain vacuum for 1 hour before proceeding further. Note: carry out task 8 and 9 quickly, within 10 sec or as immediately as possible to avoid air entry into the system at any cost. Task 8. Ensure the system is evacuated. Note the reading available on the compound gauge, and it should be not less than the vacuum level which is achieved in the previous task, that is 30 in Hg or equivalent. Note down the reading in the record sheet. Task 9. Charging the system. Now, on to the task of charging the system with gas. Start by immediately introducing gas after the evacuation process. Connect one end of the charging hose to the valve of the service cylinder and the other end to the center port of the gauge manifold. Open the service cylinder valve gently by turning the knob half to 1 full turn counterclockwise using the valve key. Next, purge the charging hose by loosening its end at the center of the gauge manifold. Observe the refrigerant escaping at the center port of the manifold in the form of snow. Once observed, promptly tighten the end of the charging hose to halt the release of refrigerant. Task 10. Charge refrigerant into the system. After evacuation is completed, charge the circuit with the proper amount of refrigerant. Note: the proper amount of refrigerant is specified on the nameplate of the outdoor unit. Use a hose to connect the narrow tube service valve to the liquid port of the charging cylinder. Purge air from the hose. Do this by opening the charging cylinder valve, then slightly loosening the connection to the narrow tube service valve. Note: write down the gradation levels on the charging cylinder before and after the charging. This allows you to calculate the charging volume. If it is possible to completely charge the unit with the proper amount of refrigerant, you can do an additional charging after installing the units. At that time, refrigerant should be recharged in the liquid state a little at a time using the wide tube service port, and the air conditioner should be operating in cooling mode during the entire charging process. Note: charging the unit with a large amount of refrigerant at once may damage the compressor. Always charge the unit at a constant charging rate of about 100 G. Once you charge the system with refrigerant, conduct the leak test again with soap solution. Apply foam onto the joints using the sponge to enhance visibility. Carefully observe the solution-covered joints for any signs of escaping bubbles, indicating a leak. If bubbles are detected at any joint, use a spanner or cutting plier to tighten screwed or threaded joints. For braced joints, repair the leaking point by brushing it. Performance checking. Task 1. Maximum load test. Turn on the air conditioner. Operate the unit for 2 hours continuously. Stop the unit once it reaches a stable state. Restart the unit after a 3-minute interval. Note the temperature inside and outside of the room. Record the wet bulb temperature inside and outside of the room. Evaluate the performance differences between tests. Task 2. Pressure assessment with manifold gauge. Attach a gauge manifold to the system. Operate the unit continuously for 2 hours. Monitor and record the pressure levels in the suction and discharge lines. Compare the recorded temperature and current values. Task 3. Cooling efficiency test. Turn on the air conditioner. Set the temperature to a specific value, 24 C. Record the readings and analyze the results. Stop the unit and clear any air blockages. Calculate the duration of operation and downtime. Task 4. Assess air movement. Set the switch to high cool, high speed. Position the velocity meter tube or anemometer in front of the grill as demonstrated. Record the airflow measurement on the record sheet. Evaluate airflow at various points on the grill, air outlet, noting the readings on the record sheet. Compare the airflow with the details on the nameplate. Task 5. Monitor electrical usage. Plug in the unit and turn on the power. Attach the tong tester to the phase wire. Start the unit and observe the current. Turn off the unit and remove the tong tester. This will help you in determining the performance of the AC unit.
We have come to the end of the exercise. Let us have a recap on what we have learned in this module. We have learned to test the leak in the refrigeration system of a multi-split air conditioner, gas charging. Thus, we have learned to conduct a leak test in multi-split AC. Hope you have a clear understanding of this. Do this exercise with the help of your instructor. Thank you all. See you in the next video.